fiasco involving pesticide residue test has refused to die down. The Prime Minister yesterday publicly announced that he was oblivious of the letter dispatched by the Indian Embassy, which eventually led to the stalling of the monitoring procedures. Despite the Premier's public apology, questions are rife whether it was possible for the Premier to be in the dark when the letter had become a public property. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama and these are the headlines of the hour. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli publicly apologizes for his ignorance about the letter dispatched by the Indian Embassy to stall the pesticide residue test. Several national and international non-government organizations charged of bypassing the government while roping in billions in funds. A coup attempt in Sudan by several military officers as well as retired officers fails. 12 arrested and 4 others detained in connection with the thwarted coup. And England storm into the finals of ICC World Cup, trouncing defending champions Australia by 8 wickets. England to clash against New Zealand in the finals on Sunday. Let us begin with the national political updates. The issue of the pesticide residue test on fruits and vegetables imported from India and other nations has refused to die down. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli yesterday publicly stated he was not informed and was misguided about correspondence from the Indian Embassy. Speaking at a program organized by the Federal Affairs and General Administration Ministry in the capital yesterday, Premier Oli said that he was not informed about the letter from the Indian Embassy. He went on to the extent of apologizing for wrongly saying that there was no such letter when he was not aware about it. This expression of the Prime Minister, however, was a hard pill to digest given that the letter dispatched from the Indian Embassy had already become a public property. Numerous questions have been raised about the state administration and government mechanism as the Prime Minister himself was caught napping regarding an issue of the diplomatic importance. Serious questions have now been raised against the role of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, team of the Prime Minister's advisors, related ministries and administrative officials in the current fiasco. This incident where the Prime Minister, the executive head of state, has appeared unaware about a major issue is not an ordinary case of negligence and irresponsibility, and there is a general call for the incident to go through a thorough investigation. The assessment of the pesticide residue on fruits and vegetables imported from India has resumed at Rupandehi Transit yesterday onwards. Even as the government claimed of halting the monitoring process, citing lack of adequate laboratories to conduct the test, it was later revealed that the government decision was influenced by a directive under the Indian Embassy. On Wednesday, the Supreme Court had stayed government decision of stalling the pesticide monitoring on fruits and vegetables imported from India. The government had earlier halted the procedure, citing lack of laboratory to conduct the test in massive scale. The local authorities are now saying that if laboratories that have been installed to ensure the import of quality and pesticide-free fruits and vegetables are operated under the provincial government, there will be no issues in carrying out the required tests. 2 officials, including Vice-Chancellor of BP Koirala Institute of Health Science, Professor Dr. Rajkumar Rauniar, have been caught red-handed on charges of receiving bribe money. A team of the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority (CIAA) arrested Vice-Chancellor Rauniar and Academy's resident Dr. Ramhari Rauniar with a bribe amount of 800,000 rupees. They were arrested from the residence of the Vice-Chancellor while receiving the bribe, which was a part of commission for the contract of construction of the Academy's building. A building for the institute is being constructed in Dharan at an investment of around 10 million rupees. Ramhari Rauniar is a resident doctor and is studying MD at the institute. The anti-graft body has said that further investigations are currently underway. Several national and international non-governmental organizations have been bringing in billions in funds without making the government aware of it. However, the monitoring entity of non-governmental organizations, the Social Welfare Council, has said that it would be difficult to monitor the increasing transactions of INGOs in the absence of a one-door policy for such organizations to rope in funds to Nepal. The funds of INGOs were transacted through the amount of the Social Welfare Council 30 years ago. The provision was scrapped as INGOs were allowed to spend funds by creating bank accounts in their own names. INGOs were still asked to open their accounts only in Rashtriya Banijya Bank to maintain the one-door policy, but the provision was a failure following opposition from other banks. With the government failure in creating legal boundaries for the foreign organizations, they have brought in 150 billion rupees in 3 years. Not a single government body has records of how and where such funds were spent. The Social Welfare Council has said that investigations and monitoring cannot be carried out if the government does not implement the one-door policy. According to the council source, more than 24 international organizations have directly provided funds to their Nepalese subsidiaries in recent years. Likewise, experts have said that the 150 billion rupees brought in the past 3 years were largely spent on religious activities without even informing the government. The trend of foreign organizations sending funds in the name of individuals and operating against national policy and priorities is increasing as of late. However, the monitoring agency, the Social Welfare Council, is of the opinion that a decision must be taken from the government level to control the increasing financial malpractices of foreign organizations. A total of 26 billion rupees has been approved for 27 projects of the INGOs this year alone. Large funds are being used in unofficial way by the INGOs due to the lack of coordination between the Finance Ministry, Nepal Rashtra Bank and the Social Welfare Council. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the locals in Chitwan, the city which is being developed as a medical hub, regarding their level of satisfaction on services and facilities provided by health institutions. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
उपचारहरुमा चाहिँ केयरलेस गर्ने या विभिन्न घटनाहरु घट्ने यस्ता कुराहरु पनि देखिराखेका छन्।
सरकारी अस्पताल अलिकति केही रूपमा सहज भए तापनि उपचार लिनै सारै गाह्रो छ। किनभने धेरै समय 2-3 घण्टासम्म लाइनमा बस्नुपर्ने अनि त्यसमाथि पनि पालो आइहाल्यो भने पनि गएर अब मेडिकल ब्लड रिपोर्टहरु हुन्छ। त्यो ब्लड रिपोर्टहरुको लागि चाहिँ धेरै लामो समयसम्म पर्खनु पर्ने, पर्खेर पनि फेरि रिजल्ट राम्रो नआउने दोहोर्याएर गर्नुपर्ने। त्यस कारणले गर्दा हामी धेरै अलि बर्खामा परिरहेछौँ।
जुनसुकै बिरामी आए पनि यहाँबाट चाहिँ काठमाडौँ जाने नपरोस्, त्यो काठमाडौँको जुन उपचार हुनुपर्ने त्यो सबै यहाँ यो चितवनमा चाहिँ होस्।
And time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And the question is, what's your take on efforts to levy up to 90% taxes on community forest consumer groups? Your options are A, eyeing resources, B, lack of coordination in law formulation, and C, eyeing community forestry. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And that's all for the moment. Keep watching Kantipur TV HD for more news and entertainment. Have a great day ahead.